To the markets then and taking a look at Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Yes, we are off the day's highest point. Nifty Bank is down over 400% from the day's highest point, and we have slipped below that 2,300 mark as well when it comes to Nifty 50 on an intraday basis, seeing a bit of a rebound. But let's see whether or not we are able to do that. But stocks like Asian Paints, BPCL, some of these crude beneficiaries are definitely leading it from the front when it comes to Nifty gainers. But with this, let's also put the spotlight on Metropolis Healthcare. The company has done a recent acquisition in Uttar Pradesh. Let's understand what does it mean for the company and what is the outlook ahead. And for this, we are being joined by Ameera Shah, promoter and executive chairperson of Metropolis Healthcare. Hi, Ameera. Good morning. Good to be speaking with you. First up, this particular acquisition that the company has done in Uttar Pradesh, tell us that how will it lead to the growth in the financials and what synergy benefits is the company looking in?
I think this acquisition in UP we're very excited about because UP has been a market that we decided to focus on last year, and we opened 8 labs and about 80 collection centers all across UP. But the acquisition and partnership of Agra's leading chain of labs, which is called Scientific Pathology, really gives us a beachhead for Western UP to use as a regional reference lab in that market and then to grow all across the western belt of Uttar Pradesh. So definitely excited for what this means. Scientific is considered the best lab in Agra and the surrounding districts. It's 40 years old, has a great legacy and trust with patients and doctors. And definitely has a similar culture as us in terms of very high quality, doing specialized tests, availability of taking care of patients. So a lot of match around the culture as well.
Hi, Nikunj also joining in. So nice to connect with you. I've tracked your company for a while now, and I think there is one number which always has stood out for me, which is your return on capital. It was enviable in the industry. Right now, it is not the best in the industry. When will it go back to be the best in the industry? 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter, 4 quarter? Because I understand that you're going through acquisitions, but for a company which used to pride itself with the best margins and the best return on capital, you're not enjoying that pivoted place again now. Why is that?
Look, I think having the best ROCE or having the best EBITDA margin only means that you've saturated your margin profile at that point of time, which actually is not necessarily the best indicator to buy a stock. I think the real question is about what you're going to do in the next 1 or 2 years, right? And I think the fact that we have done a bunch of acquisitions which have, of course, brought the ROCE down, which acquisitions do. But now there is the opportunity to really gain the ROCE back as well as to move the EBITDA margin profile up. To me, actually, that is more meaningful about what we're going to do in the next 1 or 2 years. And that's really where the value creation for shareholders will happen as well. So, we are definitely on a movement. As we know, we're not building our business quarter to quarter, but more long term. And when we do these acquisitions at reasonable valuations, we know that it's going to give us a great growth engine for the future. So I think our shareholders, investors are actually quite excited about the fact that these acquisitions will give us another new engine for growth.
The other thing I also wanted to talk about is because, some time back you had stated that you're going to be upping the prices in the B2C segment in Q4. Tell me, how much price hike have you taken or are you intending to?
See, normally we used to do price increases once every 2 years before COVID. Usually we were looking at about a 5%, kind of a number every couple of years. Actually, post-COVID, what's happened is that the stickiness to good quality brands and the movement from unorganized to organized has actually increased. So it's actually helping organized incumbents like us actually build a larger B2C stake. And as you know, we've gone to almost 57% of our contribution comes from B2C. So last year we did a marginal price increase, which I think gave about a 3% benefit to the organization. And this quarter in Jan, we did about another price increase, which gave about 2%. So really it's back to the 5% number, but the only thing is you're breaking it up over 2 years versus doing it in one shot. That's a number that we feel very comfortable with, where customers are also comfortable as well as, it's in line with competition as well.
Is the trend for our viewers to really reckon with in the entire diagnostic space? There was this COVID sugar rush, which every diagnostic firm enjoyed. Then came the normalization, then came the price war, and now comes logic and sanity. What is the next trend at play now?
Look, I think what's very clear through this whole thing, COVID was a black swan event, as we all know. And frankly, it was there for a temporary period to come and go. I think the real question was that the new players that entered in believed that they could disrupt the industry with price. And I think what has become very clear to the new players, as well as what we already knew as incumbents, was that price has a very small part to play in healthcare. Because at the end of the day, when you're sick, and really sick, I'm not talking about just a stomach ache or something like that. You're really not looking at who's giving you a 50 rupees cheaper test or 50 rupees more expensive. You're really saying, do I really have cancer, and who's the best person to diagnose it so that I can get better soon? And we find that pricing, therefore, is really not that relevant. Of course, that doesn't mean that you go out and crazily increase prices and fleece patients, not at all. But it does mean that you have some price elasticity when it comes to taking care of people's meaningful and critical diseases, which is what we do at Metropolis. As we know, majority of our business comes from specialized tests, and almost 60, 70, 80% of it comes from critical illnesses. So consumers understand that they trust us, and therefore, they have absolutely no problem in paying the price and the value for that.
It's always used to be a premium, or it is. Why used to be? It is. I'm taking it back. It is a premium diagnostic chain. It gave customers or patients option of advanced access. It was also moving up the value chain and giving some specialized tests, and that's the range of products which you've done. Differentiated strategy with advanced tax and premium, experience. Will that positioning change, or are you likely to focus on now more mass market products?
Actually, the positioning was, slightly different. You're right; it is a premium brand, but not premium because you have glass and wood in your centers and because it is a luxury hotel. It was premium because you knew that the result you're going to get was going to be accurate and is going to be accurate. And doctors were going to give you that credibility and trust that says that, look, go to Metropolis. Not only can they provide every single test possible in India from all over the world, but will give you the most accurate report. And while doing this, all of this with a empathetic and compassionate service that takes care of people, with obviously a wide distribution. So that positioning remains the same. We have no interest in being the cheapest provider. We have no interest in being, this. What we do want to provide is accessibility to healthcare all across India in places where people don't have accessibility to quality diagnostics today. But we are very clear that what helps us sleep at night is by making sure that we give people right reports. I mean, I would not feel very comfortable giving somebody something very cheap, but if I know it's wrong, it has no meaning in healthcare.
Amira, seems like you really need that rest right now. Take care of your throat. But good to have you on the show, and glad that you could take time out irrespective.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Okay, that's the word coming in from Metropolis.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.